Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions on the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really, depending on the guest, we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest from The Kissing Booth and The Kissing Booth 2 on Netflix. We're with Bianca Bosch. Bianca, welcome to Popternative.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's pretty cool right now. It's almost like the storm's starting to brew a little more and more because Kissing Booth 2 is now available on Netflix, and it's been, I don't think it hasn't even been like 2 weeks yet since it's been out.
Yeah, it was crazy. The fact that the first movie came out and it was the most rewatched movie of 2018, and then to top that they decide to do a sequel and then drop the movie and 2 days or 3 days later announce that it's going to become a trilogy. They just keep dropping bombs on us. I
know, absolutely. We're going to get into it, of course, but specifically you, Bianca. I kind of want to know when storytelling and acting was something that you wanted to do. When did you decide that was kind of a venture and something you kind of wanted to do, essentially?
From a very young age, my mom was a dancer and she was a dance teacher, and I got into dance from when I was about 4 years old. I started ballet, and then when I was 7, I started contemporary dancing, and I did that up until the end of high school. During high school, I got into musical theater, and that was kind of where the love and discovery of acting came about. And I mainly was focused on actually leaving school and going to a musical theater college. And while I was in the process of auditioning and investigating different colleges, I was like, why not just try acting for film? So I did a short course at the New York Film Academy in Manhattan, and I fell in love with it. I was like, okay, 100%, I just want to focus on film, even if it's for the next year, and then I'll come back to, being a triple threat. and yeah, I just fell in love with it, decided that I didn't want to live in New York. So I auditioned for the American Academy of Dramatic Arts, which is in Los Angeles, studied there. Visa was up, course was over. So unfortunately, I had to head back home. But I've kept in contact with quite a few acting coaches. My main acting coach is Matthew Harrison, and he's actually in Canada. So I would go back and forth in Canada doing acting courses with him. He would come to Cape Town. So yeah, it's kind of just been a journey, to say the least. I didn't expect myself to go this route. I always thought I'd either be a dancer or be in musical theater, but I guess this is where we're at.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about your character in The Kissing Booth and The Kissing Booth 2, but specifically, Bianca, talk a little bit about the kind of growth and transition that we're going to see with your character from one movie to the next. Like, what is your character up to, essentially?
I think in the first movie, you might get the feeling that she's one of the mean girls. Mm-hmm. And yes, they are known as, they're being portrayed as the it group, or the group that you want to be a part of, the cool girls, popular girls at school. And then when you see her throughout the second film, you kind of notice there is a bit more substance to her, and she's not just a mean cool girl. She's actually got a heart. She promotes, one of the parts that I really appreciated them putting in is when Judd and Evan have their makeout scene at the Kissing Booth, and you see all the OMG girls celebrating it. There's a lot more substance and depth to a character than as you see on the screen.
The one thing too is that I find interesting is they're like you got to do this, like you got to be part of a sequel that a lot of people didn't think there would have been a sequel for this. So it's kind of a cool position, you know what I mean?
It's incredible. This was also my very first audition I'd ever been to coming out of college. So I went in there with an attitude of like, just go there for the experience of auditioning and just have fun, which in hindsight, it should be that all the time.
Yeah.
I've just had an espresso shot, and that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done because I'm like jittery right now.
No worries.
I'm like
But
tripping
I'm
over
kind of like, I'm
words.
high energy too, right? So you got to compliment my high energy. Sometimes I'll do interviews with people and like we talked about before, like the time zones, right? So it'll be like really early in the
Yeah.
morning for them if it's like in LA, but I will be like noon here in Canada, right? So like they'll log in and I'll be like, "Hey, welcome to Popternative," and they're like, "Oh my god, like what is
Just
going
shut up, I'm sleeping.
So
Yeah,
no, it's all good. No, I love the energy. It's awesome.
I know. Although it's not so safe when you on medication and you're like, okay, what's happening?
Yeah, I know.
It's yeah, bad idea. And,
um,
what was I saying? It was the first time I'd ever auditioned. And I kind of am so glad it was because now every time I go into an audition, I think to myself, just go for the process, just go there to be in
mhm.
the room and experience it and learn from it instead of trying to get the character or trying to get the part or book the role.
Yes.
Because that is the mentality I walked in with, and I swear that is kind of why I booked it.
Yeah,
I was confident and I was grounded, and nerves didn't really get to me that time.
for sure.
So yeah, it's like reverse psychology 101.
Here's the thing. So we're not gonna go specifically into the ages, like how old you all are, but like all the actors on the kissing booth are like young, up and coming, in their 20s actors and storytellers. I like to call you guys storytellers. So here, there's an interesting dynamic I think you guys are in. So
Hmm.
basically, you're in these movies that people are watching on Netflix, Kiss Move 2, and you're starring in this, you're working, you book the role and everything. There are people that are younger than you that are watching the movie and be like, oh my God, this is so cool. I one day want to kind of land a role like this, or I want to kind of be able to play one of the OMG girls, something like that. So there are people looking up to you. At the same time, you are all like young enough where you're still learning your craft, you're still growing in your craft, and you're also looking up to people as well. So you're kind of like a middleman, like a middle person a little bit. Have you ever thought about that?
I have. I've thought of that a lot because, on the one hand, when I first booked the movie, I didn't tell anybody because I thought this is going to be so embarrassing. Like it's one of those starting points. And then when it came out, I was like, everyone watch me. you know, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think then you realize, oh, okay, this has got a bit of success. And do I have a platform now? And do I have a voice? And, there are millions of not millions, but thousands of little girls messaging me saying, I really want to be in a Netflix movie, and how do I get there? And what did you do? And for sure, I want to tell them everything I've done because I wanted that person when
Yeah.
I was in their position in high school and 16 and wanting to be on movies. Um, and I would love for my hero to turn to me and say, well, not hero, but someone I look up to, be like, these are the guidelines.
Mhm.
This is what you're going to face, and this is what you should be prepared for.
Paying it forward, I love it.
Yeah, you could see it as
Is that the
that
Nespresso
completely.
talking, or is this Bianca
Yeah.
talking?
Oh my God. Yeah.
I'm a big coffee drinker myself, and it's like a problem. And
I
like,
know.
it's a problem. It
I
is. It's an issue. And
I read the other day that you every time you drink a coffee, it's actually you just getting over your last coffee hangover.
hmm yeah,
I don't
but
know if that's true, but if you think about it, I mean, you've got to take double every time
I
as it goes
just
along because
we got an
it's
espresso.
just never
We got an espresso machine like right before like all the quarantine happened, and that was just a mistake.
clever.
Yeah, it was just
Oh,
the machine, and there's so many different coffees, and like I want to try it all. You know what I mean?
that's
I'm
funny.
surprised. I usually have like a coffee cup here. I don't have a coffee right now, but usually I do have one. You see it on
Yes.
social media. You see it on social media. You know, the cast and crew, the cast of the kissing booth. You know, it's really cool because you see it with a lot of projects. But it seems like you guys are like you guys became pretty close. A lot of you specifically are really good friends, and a lot of you kind of like you never knew each other before, and then kind of hit it off and became friends. Can you talk a little bit about that aspect of it? Kind of being able to, you're going to work, but you've also created relationships with people that will carry on for like most of your lives. You know what I mean?
I think that's one of the biggest and best experiences of this whole film and this trilogy is because I also am not from Cape Town originally.
Mm-hmm.
So to come to a city that you haven't lived in before and you've got no friends and no connections, and then you land yourself this part in a movie, and next minute those are all your best friends and the co-stars you're working with. And they're all in this industry and they're all struggling for the same dream as you are, and you can just relate to them. And being with an actor and being with your normal friends is so different. Like it's just crazy different levels, like how psyched up we get, and we're constantly in accents and I don't know, carrying on acting crazy and doing weird shit and just talking about subjects that are very in depth and I wouldn't normally just have with an average person.
Yeah, you mentioned the accents. That's a big thing too. Like,
don't make me do one.
No, I'm not. I wasn't. People ask you to do it. I wouldn't do it. No, I'm just saying. Are there a lot of people that maybe don't realize that you're from South Africa that kind of watch Kissing Booth and were kind of like, whoa?
Yeah, I think so. I think quite a few people, well, they know that the movie's filmed in Cape Town.
It was filmed there, yeah, but like, you obviously don't have the accent in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah, no, for sure. So I think we pulled it off. I think everyone believed that we were American high school kids and we were living in Los Angeles.
I'm kind of afraid to ask an accent related question right now because I feel like maybe like if I ask it, you're gonna have to be like, whoa, now I have to like show an example, and I don't want to. No, but I want to know something about the accents. Can I ask it? You want to ask?
Okay.
You want to ask the espresso? Can we ask the espresso permission? No, sorry.
Okay, wait. Let's.
What is the process of you like? I just want to know the process, right? Like you're doing an accent, and is it a lot of practicing? Is it less practicing than people think? Like, what's the process like? I'm just curious.
That's a good question. Okay. No, that's fine.
Okay, approved.
No, some people are weird. They'll be like, they'll come up and be like, perform. And I'm like, I'm not a monkey. Like, I don't just dance on the spot. You know what I mean? But yeah, at college, we learned different accents. And that was where it originated, also where I started. And then obviously living in LA, you get a lot of exposure to hearing the dialect.
Yes.
So coming home was probably the worst part because then you're surrounded by these South Africans and you're like, oh, now I've got to get you out of my head and focus on the rhythm of another dialect. But I think it's muscle memory for sure.
Yep.
And it is very technical. So it is, you can learn it. There are ways to position your tongue and open your mouth and listen to the rhythms and stuff like that to get into the accent. And we have dialect coaches on set. Yeah. So while you're performing, they'll be listening and then they'll come up to you and say, like, you're hitting the T too hard on hot. Like, you've got to drop it down. Americans don't do that. South Africans do. We hit all our T's. So there's certain little rules that you learn and you know of. And yeah.
Good. We moved past the accent question, and it was. I wasn't sure if it was like a safe zone, but it was. Oh,
good. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. No, but I don't know. Like it's the same thing with me. Like I work in sports, right? And I do a lot of like PA announcing, right? Which is, you know, if a goal is scored in hockey, you say who scored everything, and people ask me to do it on the spot. I do it on the spot, but like. I don't know. Like, I don't know if, like, it's the same thing. Like, sometimes it's like you put on the spot, you're like, oh, like, because it's loud, right? Like, when you do it. But, Bianca, thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a really fun chat with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I mumbled over my words. I'm just super excited.
No.
I've had, like, an espresso shot, and I'm good to go.
So people can watch Kissing Booth 2 right now on Netflix. Well, they can watch both of them.
They can. Yeah, it's been out. How weird. It's number one, I think, in South Africa, Chile, Argentina, Brazil. What were the... I don't know if it was the UK, but then the first one is number 3.
I
So
know.
obviously
I think
have
people are
watched
going
the
back and
second.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
For,
I don't blame them. I did it too. So
no, absolutely. And where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
at Bianca Bosch on Instagram.
I thought you were about to say something like
What?
I don't know, like you kind of have a little smirk on your face. You're gonna be like, I don't know. I feel like you're about to be like, I don't know if I can say it, or I don't know if I can tell you this.
I'm full of secrets.
No, seriously, congrats to you and the cast and crew.
Thank you.
And yeah, no, it's awesome to see. So people will watch Kissing Booth 2, and we can see you and the OMG girls in it and everyone else, and that is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. And until next time, this is Bianca Bosch and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.